We're going to be selling a gold card. You have a green card. This is a gold card. We're going to be putting a price on that card of about $5 million, and that's going to give you green card privileges plus. It's going to be a route to citizenship, and wealthy people will be coming into our country by buying this card. They'll be wealthy, and they'll be successful, and they'll be spending a lot of money and paying a lot of taxes and employing a lot of people.
Is this genius or an abomination? It's been said for a long time in the UK that Russian oligarchs were able to access British citizenry via their acquisition of real estate or through favours and connections to people in the administration or government, cronyism in other words. Lara, what do you think? Is this like Trump at his ingenious best, or is this kind of deplorable corruption that people have long been terrified would be brought about by his second term?
Well, it is true, Russell, that people have been able to buy their way into countries for a long time. Like if you invest, in a sense, there's already a gold card, because if you invest a certain amount and you create a certain amount of business and you employ a certain number of people, you already have access. So, people will jump up and down no matter what Trump says or does on immigration. The Trump haters are going to jump up and down. And for most Americans, just for the ordinary person out there, they're going to say, well, if America's going to get $5 million and they're going to get rid of the IRS and I don't have to pay taxes anymore, they're not going to mind. People recognize that the government has to bring in revenue somehow. So in a sense, it's a little bit like tariffs, right? Is that the cost is being pushed onto other people. So it just, in principle, I think a lot of people in this country are not going to have an issue with it. Is it vulnerable to corruption? Yes, of course. Does it perpetuate a system where the wealthy have access to things that other people don't? Yes, but he's not saying he's going to replace the normal immigration system with this. So it's not like he's shutting off all access for all other people to apply legally to emigrate to this country. So, I think that's an empty argument to a degree because the wealthy already have special access to immigration. I will say, however, though, that this immigration issue is a very big one. Obviously, it's one that touches people all over this country. And this administration is really going to has a difficult time dealing with what has happened, because when you've brought in 10,000 people a day, every single day for 4 years, when you've got 15 million you acknowledge, and you've got 18 to 20 million who is the more likely figure have come into this country illegally, you have a shadow culture that has been imported into this country of people, many of whom, in fact, most of whom don't speak English, have no real, they don't identify with the United States in any way whatsoever. They don't really know the culture or understand where this country came from, and so they're not motivated to fight for it in the same way that you would be if perhaps you were born here or if you went through the legal immigration process over a long period of time. And so how you extricate that from American society is something people all over the world are watching very closely, because it's happened in Europe, it's happened elsewhere, and this is going to be very tough. You've already got people saying that the Trump administration is targeting unaccompanied minors, which are unaccompanied children, and it's not true. They're not targeting unaccompanied minors. It's all they've done is trying to put in rules to say, we want to figure out where these kids have gone. We want to figure out if they're with family members. We want to make sure they're protected. The most basic protections that are afforded American children is what they want to apply to unaccompanied migrant children, and the propaganda machine is in overdrive already. So this issue of immigration, I don't like to project into the future because I'm not a prophet, and so I'm always wary of that. But I have very serious concerns right now about how this issue is going to play out.
Do you have similar concerns as a British person? And do you feel that this is a kind of overt and vulgar scheme by Trump? Or do you think that Trump is doing what he often does, making explicit what is typically tacit in politics, that wealthy people can bypass rules? And also, Neil, could you follow up on what Lara said about a kind of shadow class of occupants of a nation that are antithetical to that nation's consensual purpose and identity?
I think I find it difficult in large part as an outsider, I suppose, to the United States, and I'm not as familiar with Donald Trump as maybe as presumably Americans are. But it does sound like something that could be interpreted as a crass thing to say. And I noticed his conflation of $5 million with people who are successful. There's all sorts of ways by which someone could be in possession of $5 million worth of bargaining chips, to get into the United States. Whatever, the child of someone of wealth, someone that has exploited criminality to have 5 million plus wealth, to just straightforwardly equate $5 million with success, which implies, somebody worth having. I would say could be interpreted as a crass statement, and I would always lean towards idealistically and or even unrealistically or not towards a system that was attracting people of merit. I mean, the whole story of the founding of the United States of America, that basal layer is made of people who came with nothing, from all parts and all sorts of people, and who came and who all they needed was the opportunity. And then they could make something of that. I think for the president of the United States of America to make a statement that could be, I'm not saying it is, but it could be interpreted as being so crass, I think is unfortunate. I'd rather see. I'm not talking about. I'm not even an unequivocal advocate of meritocracy, because I know what the problems are with meritocracy, in as much as they, by definition, it means that you're drawing away from people societies who need them the very best, and those people are drawn by osmosis, somewhere else, which leaves the community and the society and the civilization that gave birth to them the less for their absence. But I think the suggestion that, if you've got $5 million, however you've got it, you can get in and you can get some kind of platinum card level of US citizenship, I think I don't know why someone who's the leader of the free world would indulge himself in saying something like that.
Rumble have always believed in empowering free speech voices. Do you remember when dirty old Dunkin' Donuts turned their backs, and their stinking donuts? They said that Rumble had a right-wing culture. No. Free speech isn't fascist, but Dunkin' Donuts would have you believe it. So would YouTube, so would all the globalists. Join us on Rumble Premium. You don't only get additional good old Russell Brand Stay Free content, you get additional content from him, and him, and him, and her. Oh, there is a her. And another her. Ah, come on, we did okay. And this gay content. See, we can do it. We ain't no right wing. We're excited to offer you Rumble Premium, a completely ad-free experience with exclusive benefits for viewers and creators. For a limited time, you can get $10 off an annual plan using the promo code BRAND. Visit rumble.com/premium/brand to help me, use me, help me, and help you. Help me, help you. That's Jerry Maguire, huh?
Help me, help you.
Together, we can turn the tide. Whether you join Rumble Premium or simply keep watching, your kindness helps free speech alive. And if enough of you join, I might give you one last glimpse at these little guys. I've come to regard Donald Trump with a kind of awe. One of the pivotal moments in my own kind of transformation in my perspective on Trump came when Chappelle memorably said at an SNL, as a part of his SNL monologue when Trump was elected the first time, he started to say publicly what we've all believed for a long time, that I know how this works because I've been exploiting the corrupt and hidden levers of power in the way that all of Hillary's donors do. That sort of being one of the standout points. Now, when he does something like posts Gaza as a holiday destination or says that you can openly acquire citizenship, I start to get the idea that perhaps we're dealing with someone who's better equipped than I am to understand politics. Not that that's a particularly high threshold, but that someone that makes outlandish, bold, and as you say, sometimes crass remarks that are nevertheless somehow hacks in the bureaucratic and administrative space that preceded him, that themselves were so sort of insidious and cowardly, so duplicitous and dishonest, that I see Trump really as a wrecking ball summoned from the collective imagination. I know that sounds pretty grand, but when Marianne Williams said in the Democratic primaries last time round when they were selecting that if you think this kind of wonkish energy is going to be able to oppose dark psychic forces as summoned by Trump, then you've got another thing coming.
If you think any of this wonkiness is going to deal with this dark psychic force of the collectivized hatred that this president is bringing up in this country, then I'm afraid that the Democrats are going to see some very dark days. We need to say it like it is. It's bigger than Flint. It's all over this country. It's particularly people of color. It's particularly people who do not have the money to fight back. And if the Democrats don't start saying it, then why would those people feel that they're there for us? And if those people don't feel it, they won't vote for us, and Donald Trump will win.
And whilst I don't think of Trump as a dark figure, I think of him as the sort of living embodiment of America's self-image in the way that I would have seen movie stars once. If you track the kind of movie stars that were flung up in the 80s, action heroes, the kind of comic heroes that were full of sort of doubt and self-recrimination in the 90s. And the American culture has to talk to itself. What I feel happened, primarily after sort of the Blair, Obama, Clinton type era of showbiz leaders, is that we kind of created a space for someone that understood those dynamics better than they did. It's just sort of inconceivable that like political discourse is taking place on this level, posting pictures of AI, selling immigration cards. But I think, what, is this better than Boris Johnson? Is it better than Joe Biden? Is it better than what Kamala Harris would have done? Sort of it is. It's sort of what they did was so veiled and darkly bureaucratic and tethered to power that ain't even national but global, corporate, commercial, and I think actually darker. In the same way that for many years people on the left would say, I know the Labour Party aren't good enough, I know the Democrat Party aren't good enough, but they're the least worst option. That's what they used to say. They never used to say, I really believe in Joe Biden, or I really believe in Ed Miliband, or I really believe in Bill Clinton, or even Barack Obama, other than like for about 15 minutes. With the fact that an African American had become president and it created a sort of euphoria. We saw the true colour of Obama. Subsequently, it doesn't need to be rehashed here. So, I feel that he's a pivotal figure because he's sort of cracking open stuff. And then when I look that his current presidency is indefatigably connected to the rise of someone like Bobby Kennedy, in whom I have actual sincere faith. I know there are people that have sincere faith in Trump. They're just I love this guy. When I think of the platform I'm on, Rumble, Bongino was as left to become part of the government. I mean, I just think that's so sort of mad and novel and extraordinary. I don't feel about Donald Trump what they do. I'm not saying Dan Bongino. I mean, Trump's supporter base unquestionably believe in him in an almost religious way. I don't have that. What I think is this is phenomenal and extraordinary. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.